going to be tested here this evening.
Georgetown in their title blue unis tonight. TCU in the whites. The Horned Frogs win the tip.
Something that Cooley said that he wanted to do was he wanted to, quote, muck the game up. He wants to change defenses, really try and slow TCU down, because this Horned Frogs team, electric in the open floor.
They lead the country in fast break points with over 30 a game. Peavy. And it will stay with the Horned Frogs with a fresh 20.
Something to keep in mind, though, TCU has not played the most challenging schedule so far. So they are 6-0, and they have played fantastic. But this is by far their biggest challenge to date, their first road game. Got a lot of experience on the floor, but each year can be a little bit different.
Here is Jameer Nelson Jr. with a nice drive to start it.
Just a little shot fake, and nobody in the paint to step over and contest anything at the rim. We talked about Supreme Cook. Somebody's got to be there to make that shot more difficult.
Contrast Styles with the basketball and into the hands of Jaden Epps. Got poked in the eye late in the first half earlier this week against Merrimack. Georgetown struggled without him but held on. Epps off. Offensive rebound for Cook, and he's fouled.
Yeah, that's a good start for Supreme Cook, getting an offensive rebound. One way to slow down a transition team, you mentioned that TCU leads the nation in fast break points, is to crush them on the offensive glass. And Supreme Cook, nobody there at the front of the rim, is able to get it and go back up and draw a foul.
So the Fairfield transfer steps to the line. An area they're also working with him on his free throw shooting.
He struggled there, John, as we take a look at Ed Cooley. A guy who is just a magnetic personality, isn't he? I mean, he was so much fun to talk to at shoot-around this morning. If there's one guy that I am totally confident in building a program back up, it is Ed Cooley.
What do you think is the key for Georgetown matching up with such a deep, quick team?
Well, I think the biggest thing is to keep this game in the half court. You do not want this game to become a track meet getting up and down the floor.
There's Jacoby Coles.
Once upon a time was at Butler as a freshman, tore his meniscus, went in Indianapolis, and now found his career taking off at TCU. He's really off to a good start. He's made himself into a pretty good shooter.
Left wide open from the corner. That three falls.
Well, one thing you have to do against Georgetown is defend the three-point line. That is a mental mistake. And all day to line up a three.
Contrast Styles hitting, and Epps with the rebound. Here's Jay Heath. Epps flying by his defender, Jaden Epps. A whistle came in. A foul was called. As that basket went in, the basket will count.
It gets Supreme Cook maybe shoving a TCU Horned Frog. Taking another look at it. First of all, it's a big-time drive from Jaden Epps. See that help defense, John? Doesn't want to leave their man because you got shooters towing the arc. And just a big collision after the shot. But it's good to see Epps getting downhill and not feeling the effects of that poke in the eye from just a few days ago against Merrimack. And here we go. First possession is zone from Georgetown. Worked a lot on this in shoot-around.
Whoa! Hello, Jameer Nelson Jr.
Wow. I didn't know he had it like that.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a guy, he was a big-time scorer at Delaware. He had double figures in all 29 games a year ago.
He is something special. A foul underneath as Cook went up. It's on court.
Well, again, I don't know. Let's first just admire the dunk. I mean, that's big time. 2 foot, way above the rim. But where is the defense, John? I mean, there is nobody in the lane. Look at that. Zero help defense in the paint. You're in a zone. A part of that is to pack in the paint. Jameer Nelson, just a little jab step right down Broadway and a hammer time.
Announcing his presence to this game also initiating his movement to TCU. Who did it? Pops. When TCU lost Mike Miles and Damian Baugh, two really good guards, Nick, Pops, Jameer Nelson, put a call into Jamie Dixon, said, I'd love my son to play for you.
Isn't that amazing? That it took a phone call from dad that leads to a pretty good player.
Nice drive to the bucket to Coles. All initiated by Nelson.
Again, that's where TCU is at their best. They are outstanding pushing it. They're a roster full of athletes, and you want to let those athletes get out and run. Nelson's off to a really, really good start.
Here's Ismael Massoud. Just made his season debut earlier this week. The Kansas State transfer with a shot clock to 8 for Epps. Epps, a blocking foul is called on Peavy.
Yeah, Ismael Massoud makes a big difference. But look at how TCU's doing trying to do a good job of not letting the ball get to the middle of the floor, but Peavy just not sliding his feet. Easy call for the officials. But Massoud makes a big difference for this team. You take a look at Jamie Dixon, who has just done an outstanding job at TCU.
Jamie Dixon played for the Horned Frogs. So since the NCAA tournament expanded to its modern format, 64 and 85 and later 68, as Epps drives and scores it, Dixon has been a part of 4 of TCU's 5 NCAA tournament teams. One as a player, the other 3 coaching.
That tells you about all you need to know about Jamie Dixon.
An illegal screen is called on Cork, and that's his second foul.
And that's the beauty of depth, though. You can navigate foul trouble with no issues. Take another look at it as Cork's just going to be sliding a little bit. Sometimes that's on the ball handler to allow that screen to get set before you take off and come off of it. I really like how Jaden Epps has started this game thinking inside out, as opposed to just settling for long, tough threes.
Issa Mustafa checks in for TCU with Xavier Quirk in the foul trouble. Massoud looking for Styles. Dontrez Styles. Long rebound pulled down by Nelson. Up to Miller. Jameer Nelson Jr. is driving the Horned Frogs bus.
And Ed Cooley.
That he has. Delaware transfer with 4 points, 2 assists already. And now here comes some pressure.
And then you got the 2 guards in the game too, and Nelson and the Okie State transfer, Avery Anderson. So you can really pressure the ball.
Those are the guys that come in to help replace Mike Miles and Damian Baugh. A turnover by Rowan Brumbaugh, who just checked in for Georgetown. Here's Miller, rejected by Epps. Styles, rather. Epps pulls. He can do that.
The point of pickup has got to be well beyond the three-point line when you're guarding Jaden Epps. You let him walk into a 3, he's going to let it fly.
Now a drive and a foul on Massoud. We'll send Chuck O'Bannon to the line.
Well, here, Avery Anderson's got to know the scouting report. Jaden Epps is a big-time three-point shooter. And you don't pick him up until right at the three-point line, he's going to rise up on you. I really like how he started the game. He attacked the paint early, and there took the right 3 in transition.
So Chuck O'Bannon Jr., 24 years of age. And if you're thinking, oh, he's played the eligibility card, folks, he's a bit of a different case. 3 major injuries throughout his career. But when March rolls around, he'll be 25 years old, 3rd oldest player in the sport.
Which obviously helps, and this whole roster for TCU is old.
Epps got space. Nick Baugh, Jaden Epps has come to play.
Man, he's cooking, isn't he? I love how he started this game. He's went and got his, but he's also got it within the flow of the offense.
Nobody guarding the lane. Anderson.
Just not sure what to say. And Ed Cooley, he's got his hands up like, what kind of defense is that? I mean, nobody in the paint to stop easy penetration.
Shot clock is down to 10. Into the hands of Brumbaugh, the Texas transfer. It's at 6. Down to Fielder, the freshman.
It's a freshman-to-freshman connection right there. Drew Fielder on the receiving end. That's a great play from Rowan Brumbaugh. Under control, dropping it to his teammate.
Pull-up 3 is off for O'Bannon. Massoud. Offensive rebound. Ed Cooley said it was paramount that his team got on the glass. TCU plus 10 per game in rebounding. Shot clock down to 7. Fielder. Cash.
All because of an offensive rebound and a little bit of patience from Georgetown. Run the clock down, and great start from Drew Fielder.
Deflected. It'll stay with TCU, and Ed Cooley just popped.
Not totally sure what the stoppage was there.
Well, the officials have said it's their fault that there wasn't actually a timeout as Fielder fouls Avery Anderson III, but that became a timeout.
It was a timeout for Ed Cooley to try to pump the crowd up. That's what it was, I guess. But
well, that actually brings us to a point that you were just talking about. Let's face it. This is a program that won 7 games last year. 2 in the Big East. They've gone through 2 years of darkness, total darkness, that led to the change in head coach with Patrick Ewing done. And Ed Cooley talked with us this morning about how when you're trying to dig out of this hole, you have to do some of what we just saw from him.
Yeah, I think energy in the program is arguably, beyond anything else, the #1 thing that needs to happen. And you can acquire that in a variety of ways, but this was a pretty apathetic situation that I think Ed Cooley walked into and trying to ignite the Hoya fan base.
Fielder tries to tap that back. Brumbaugh with a spin. Can't hit with the left hand, and it goes back to the Hornfrogs.
I was curious to see how TCU would respond here. Again, haven't played the toughest schedule so far. First time you go on the road. And outside of some early transition opportunities, haven't been totally crisp on this end of the floor. I think TCU, while it's not in their DNA to have a patient, long possession, make Georgetown guard a little bit. I think you're going to be able to get whatever you want.
Travion Tennyson is checked in for TCU, as is Ernest Duday. His pulls is a little short, and here comes Jay Heath.
That's too quick of a shot there, John. That's just a one-pass face-up, long 2.
Styles with a head of steam. Georgetown is 8 for 13 to start this game.
Playing harder right now.
Heaved 3 for Tennyson.
I like this kid. Texas A&M Corpus Christi transfer. He made 100 threes a year ago. He's a big-time shooter off the bench.
On his 4th college stop. We want to welcome all of you who just saw Oregon defeat Michigan. We're in Washington, D.C. for the Big East Big 12 battle. Georgetown welcoming in an undefeated TCU team. John Fanta and Nick Bott with you. Nick, what are you looking for right now?
Well, right now, Georgetown's off to a great start. Offensively, getting high-quality looks. Jaden Epps is rolling. And TCU's best offense has been in the open floor, which isn't surprising based on how they're built, but a really good start for the Hoyas.
It will stay with Georgetown after we take a
emotional malaise where they're a little too laid back and quiet. I think Georgetown has played with a lot of emotion, and I think that's why Ed Cooley is praising it. Really wants his team to continue to play with that fire.
Ismael Massoud, a little bit off on the runner. You talked about the shot making. Georgetown's top 3 in the Big East in three-point field goal percentage and threes made with over 9.
This team can shoot. There's no question about that.
Turn around a little bit off for Tennyson.
Boy, another shaky shot selection from TCU.
Offensive foul on Heath. Well, if you're just joining us, Georgetown opened up red hot from the floor. Hitting 6 of their first 8 shots. Starting 3 for 5 from 3. Jaden Epps with 9 points. Jameer Nelson Jr. was the one who started TCU off early. Great guard matchup.
Yeah, it was the 2 guards that got the party started. Jaden Epps in particular.
There's Jacoby Coles again.
Little 2-3 zone. Pretty simple. Just throw it right to the heart of the defense, turn, and shoot a wide-open jump shot. I think right now TCU, although they want to play fast, I think the more they can move the ball and share it, I think there's likely going to be a good shot at the end of it.
Heath, tough shot from downtown.
Now, you talk about a guy in Heath, he's scored over 1,200 points in his career. And he can put it in the hoop at a high level.
Foul on the 3 that'll send Nelson to the line.
In the backcourt are 2 newcomers. Avery Anderson's played a lot of basketball in the Big 12 at Oklahoma State, but he's new at TCU. And same thing with Jameer Nelson Jr. from Delaware. He's got some experience, but this is a new situation that they're into.
Both high-impact transfers. Jameer Nelson Jr., again, the son of the great Jameer Nelson, who had a terrific 14-year NBA career. Currently the general manager of the Delaware Bluecoats. And it was Pops who made the call to Jamie Dixon. He wanted his son to play for the Horned Frogs. And here comes Georgetown. Epps lost it.
This is where TCU's really good.
Coles rejected by Massoud. Miller's there for the putback.
Those 50-50 balls are going to be really important. And TCU so far this season has come up with their lion's share of those. As Massoud with great help defense, but there wasn't another Hoya to try and corral it.
Into Supreme Cook. Cook will go back to the line. Drew Fielder and Ed Cooley said, look, this is sort of the process for our team, is figuring out how we can enter the ball into the post.
Well, and you know, Ed Cooley's teams, from an identity standpoint, they're typically big and physical, and oftentimes that is going to be somebody in the front line. Well, Supreme Cook is the guy that needs to lead the charge there, and that's why I asked Ed Cooley, is there one guy that you feel like is pretty important for your group to really elevate his production? He said Cook.
Averaging 11 and 9 on the year. Coles pulls it back out to Jameer Nelson Jr. Nelson Jr. stripped by Massoud. And that's why Ismael Massoud was a big transfer pickup, because he comes from Kansas State. Epps looking for Cook, and he turned it over. Peavy. That's how TCU scores it off to Miller.
Just defense to offense. Just so good. When they got numbers 3-on-2, 2-on-1, they are electric. Athletic group.
And now a foul. It's on Heath.
You see that more and more as there's more dribble handoffs now, guard to guard. You see Ray Bristol Jr. trying to do a handoff, and Jameer Nelson Jr. just kind of runs into it. And sometimes coaches will teach their players, hey, every once in a while, just run into that handoff, see if you can't get a call.
Nick, you just said it, though. 8 fast break points already for the Horned Frogs. They lead the country with over 30 per game.
It's a huge part of TCU's offense.
Peavy with a spin. He trapped. And it's amazing the difference right now between transition and half court.
I was going to say, when TCU's gotten bogged down in the half court, they're a little bit different of a team right now. And you can tell they're not totally used to having to go deep into the possession.
Massoud with a difficult shot. Well defended.
Really good.
By Miller. Miller. Great give. Putbacks there for Peavy. His first points. TCU leads for the first time since 2-0.
Some athletic dudes in white on the floor right now for TCU. This is a really athletic team.
Turnover, and they've got numbers. Micah Peavy with authority.
See if Ed Cooley wants to let his team play through it. They got a media timeout, but all of a sudden TCU's got their defensive crew on the floor. They're switching, they're pressing. They got Georgetown a little sped up.
With the shot clock down to 11, Jay Heath, it's a blocking foul. That will send him to the line.
Up on the opponents.
15th in the country in KenPom adjusted defensive efficiency, and then 22nd in tempo. And it's interesting because when you talk with people around the Texas Christian program, they say, Jamie Dixon, that hasn't always been him.
No, to me, when I think of Jamie Dixon's teams at TCU, I think offensive, rebounding, rugged, big, right? And this group potentially has some of that in them, but where this group is special is they are athletic and they're deep. And I think they got multiple guys that can defend multiple positions, so all that kind of mixed into a equation leads to a team that will get out and run.
Peavy. Offensive rebound, Mustafa. Another scramble for it. This was Ed Cooley's concern.
50-50 balls going TCU's way. Another rebound here.
They just bashed the glass, and Mustafa finishes.
Mustafa's a senior. He had 16 double-doubles at Coastal Carolina. Drew Fielder's a freshman. I mean, that's pretty much what the story is. One guy's a lot stronger than the other right now. Where Georgetown's got to combat this with execution. I thought Epps did a good job driving it earlier. Need to try and get him a lane to attack.
8 on the shot clock. Epps with 9 points already. He kicks it to Heath. The bank. A banked-in 3. Georgetown's 5th.
Did he call it, John Fantz? I'm not totally sure.
I don't think so on that one.
Either.
The reaction told the story. Here comes Epps. Wayne Bristol has checked in for Georgetown. Heath, Fielder, Stiles, and Epps.
So you can switch this screen, and now Emmanuel Miller can defend.
Epps driving, but stopped, and he turned it over. Jameer Nelson Jr. and a little sloppy.
Boy, sometimes you're so athletic that you get careless. You play with certain guys, you feel like you can throw it up anywhere. Emmanuel Miller's one of those guys. And Jameer Nelson thought he could just nonchalantly put it near the rim, and Miller would get it, and it's a turnover.
This is part of the Big East Big 12 battle. 11 games in this conference challenge. It's split up at 3 apiece as Fielder is fouled. That puts TCU. You know, Nick, thinking about this Saturday in the sport as Fielder's off. Marquette lost to Wisconsin. Kentucky just lost to UNC Wilmington. So that one doesn't fall for the Horned Frogs. It goes back to Georgetown. Duke lost to Georgia Tech. Folks turning into this game, we're on the game. Yeah. We don't necessarily know what to expect because TCU, their schedule has not exactly been challenging. The point this time of year, how much are we all still trying to figure everybody out?
Well, how many times you see a team that is amazing in November fall off or struggle in November and rise up late in the season? It's a long year, and as you see another turnover from Georgetown. Who you are now is not necessarily who you are a week from now or a month from now, both to the good and to the bad. It's a long season. And to throw in more in there, Villanova lost to Drexel today. You know, so I mean, it has been an upset Saturday here in the sport. But TCU, to your point though, TCU is one of those teams. Look out for this group. They're way under the radar, but they check a lot of boxes.
Nelson Jr. off on the three. Cork, who's checked back in with 2 fouls, scrambling for it. Another offensive rebound for the Horned Frogs.
Good decision from Jameer Nelson Jr. Let's run some offense.
Anderson just slicing through the Hoyas.
That's a big-time hop step through a seam that was tiny. But Avery Anderson hit it and got all the way to the rim. But it all started because Jameer Nelson Jr. turned down a 3 off the offensive rebound.
Heath. Putback's good. It was Styles. Both these teams have shot over 50% in this first half. Nelson with the find. Anderson up, under, and another extra opportunity for TCU. Miller cans it. The second 3 for the Horned Frogs.
9 offensive rebounds for TCU, and a lot of them have just been kind of 50-50. Grown man, I want it more than you. And it leads to a triple from Mr. Miller.
Shot clock down to 10, and as usual, this time it's Styles to Brumbaugh with 5. Brumbaugh heaves. He got fouled. He got fouled and will go in the line for
9 offensive rebounds and forced 8 Georgetown turnovers. That's kind of been the story in the game, is TCU turning Georgetown over and slowly but surely starting to sink their teeth into Georgetown on the offensive glass that's allowed for TCU to build this lead.
Rowan Brumbaugh stepping to the line. Two for 3 trip. As Epps checks back in. So then, to that end, sometimes these closes to a first half can decide which way a game ends up going. What are you looking for?
You took it out. I think the final 2:45 here is really important for Georgetown in particular. I think you played pretty well, all things considered, but you got to finish the half strong. That's great execution from TCU. They're the bigger, more physical team. You're able to just run a simple high low to Jacoby Coles. Love that out of a timeout from Jamie Dixon.
Coles into double figures with 10.
Seems like every game he has a quiet 12 to 14 points.
Doubling his scoring production. Shot clock at 9. Epps with the ball in his hands again. Downstairs to Cook. To Massoud with 3. Massoud has to Heath. And does. Styles reeled in the board. Now Massoud glides. Took contact and TCU stands tall.
Job by TCU there at the rim, defending without fouling. Did a good job just putting their hands up, jumping, staying vertical, not trying to chop down for a block. So often, John, if you just jump up, stay vertical, make a opponent make a layup over an outstretched arm, they'll miss more than you think.
Again, they go to Coles, but Massoud was ready for it.
Yes, much better activity from Massoud, who's a lot longer in person than you think.
Straight up defense by Cork, but a foul as he got it back, did Styles.
See another look at it as Dontrez Styles, a nice spin. I love how he covered some real estate on that spin. Sometimes spins, you stay in place. Sometimes you got to move and cover ground. He spun outside of the lane into the lane, and that allowed for the foul to occur.
Nick, we've talked about Jaden Epps quite a bit, but this is a North Carolina transfer in Dontrez Styles. What have you liked most about him?
Well, Ed Cooley said he's one of the best athletes he's coached, and that's saying something. And Now, clearly he's got the talent, just didn't play a ton at North Carolina. And Ed Cooley said, we've had to, as a staff, kind of infuse some confidence back into him. And I think that's really shown so far at Georgetown.
Anderson got the fake, and Avery Anderson will go to the line.
What a luxury to bring off the bench Avery Anderson, who's a 3-year starter in the Big 12, scored over 1,000 points. And the depth on this team is really special for TCU.
This is a guy who put up a 34-point game last year. That's the thing with this TCU team. They have 5 1,000-plus career point scores. That's more than any team in college basketball. And take a look at the experience.
Not only is it old, it's productive old. You know, I mean, you got guys that have really, in their 4 or 5 years of college basketball, to score 1,000 points, I don't care where you're at, who you're playing against, that's impressive.
And it's not just being old. They have 9 players who have had a 20-plus point game in college. Depth.
To me, it's the first thing when you study TCU that jumps out. It's like, geez, this team is deep. All right, you got some really good players on the bench, and so it'd be interesting if TCU can kind of buy in to that unselfish. It could be anybody's night on any given night.
Tough drive for Styles. Massoud tries to get to it, and back to the Horned Frogs. With a minute left in this first half, and here you go. This is what you were talking about, these final moments of the half, as you take a look at the highest team points per game by players on a roster in college hoops.
That's pretty impressive, isn't it?
You bet. Massoud stepped in there with a rejection.
Boy, Massoud, he had 4 blocks in his debut against Merrimack. He's a lot longer and more active than you think he is.
So is TCU. Mustafa's length causing that turnover. The drive by Miller with the left hand.
Man, is that really good. That's not easy to go through contact over a 6'9" defender to get it soft off the glass. Miller's had some really impressive finishes in the open floor.
Horned Frogs with their largest lead. 1 second difference between shot and game clock. Epps has been the man all season for Georgetown, who's had the ball in these instances. Here's Styles with 5 on the shot clock. Epps with 3 on the shot clock. And with 2 on the shot clock, how about Anderson?
Was just sitting on that crossover, wasn't he? A little bit of a stare to Epps afterwards, like, I got to cross me up. Georgetown walked over a ton of these special situations in shoot-around. This is why you do it. 2 seconds on the clock, 1 on the game clock.
1.3 here. Massoud cut off by Anderson. And now there's just 0.8 because Avery Anderson III's been there defensively. TCU staff saying no fouls. Massoud, the inbounder, with 0.8. A fade pass to Fielder. He gets it off, and it's an air ball that'll send us to the half. And the Horned Frogs
3-15 lead in the first 7.5 minutes. They only had 1 turnover. And then they started turning the ball over, and the game completely flipped. And TCU finished on a 29-13 run. So just shows you that rebounding and turnovers really important in this one.
Epps took some contact, and now here come the Horned Frogs right out in the gates. Miller to the corner. Miller's there. Call it a pass from Nelson.
But there it is, a turnover and an offensive rebound. Yeah, that's what TCU does to people, and it has really changed this game.
And add a couple more fast break points to the mix. A dozen now for TCU. Shot clock's down to 5. Here's Epps. Epps, another giveaway. The 10th by Georgetown. Emmanuel Miller knocks it down.
Well, that's not going to get it done. Obviously, 5 turnovers for Jaden Epps, and TCU just doing a great job with their activity. Again, this team is long. This team is athletic.
top 15 in the country in defense. Forcing over 19 turnovers per game. That's third in the country. Again, the shot clock is down. Epps rejected. Oh, that was a vicious block by Ernest Uday.
They're athletic, so they're able to get a lot of easy shots in those two areas. And all of a sudden, to start this game, TCU came out totally locked in. Georgetown a little flat. And now Georgetown's on the ropes.
A foul is called as Rowan Brumbaugh has checked in for Jaden Epps. So Ed Cooley sending some sort of a message with the timeout, and his leading scorer sits down with those 5 turnovers as Ernest Uday's called for the foul.
It's always hard when, as a coach during a game, your adjustment is when what's plaguing you is turnovers. There's not a lot schematically you can do to stop turning the ball over. A lot of it is just on the individuals to make better decisions, be stronger with the ball, understand where is a problematic situation you're getting yourself into. And
oh my, that's another, and that will be an intentional on Rowan Brumbaugh. Off the turnover, the officials were right on it. Kit Kissinger with the call.
Hey, how about this? These quick hands. Look at Nelson just waiting for it, poke at it, and then he grabs the official, or grabbed the jersey right in front of the official. Easy call for the intentional foul.
At a no-brainer as Jameer Nelson Jr. will step to the line for 2, and the Horned Frogs will keep it.
Yeah.
And you want to talk about sucking the life out of a building to start a second half.
Yeah, TCU, this game felt like it was very much in balance, and TCU has come out and just delivered some haymakers early on. I think Jamie Dixon had a talk with his crew about coming out and setting the tone.
Kip Kissinger just checking with the scores table on the clock. Ray Natilli, Mike Roberts assisting him, and Ed Cooley has no choice now, Nick. He goes right back to Jaden Epps.
I know Ed Cooley wanted to play more zone tonight, but TCU's had a lot of success against the zone, so they had to stay man-to-man.
Miller on the back down. Emmanuel Miller. And it goes back to the Hoyas after the Horned Frogs have opened this second half up with 7 unanswered.
Well, right now, TCU's one of those teams that kind of smell blood if their opponent's weak with the ball. And so right now, TCU's kind of pinning their ears back and coming after the ball.
Cook taking Quirk off the dribble and hitting.
Pretty good defense, better offense from Supreme Cook.
Jacoby Coles step back. Whoa. Jacoby Coles has turned his game up to another level this year.
He's shooting over 60% from the floor for the year. And a lot of them have been jump shots just like that. He's got good size. He's got good touch.
Massoud rejected by Coles. Styles. It counts, and there's a foul. It's on Xavier Cork, and the...
But yeah, that's not basketball. I mean, that's not blocking out, right? I mean, you don't just go and shove a guy.
And so now Supreme Cook, who's just a 53% free throw shooter, steps to the line. And, well, the first one went better for him than the second. But after all of that, you're talking about a made 3, then the converted free throw, so you're at 4 points on this possession, and they keep the ball to the Hoyas. Styles drives. He's fouled. A little shaken up.
Good hard drive from Dontrez Styles. And this is shaping up to be a potential 6-point possession here for Georgetown. Big sequence here.
You said it. You needed something to, if you're Georgetown, to negate that 7 unanswered by TCU to start this second half. So an intentional foul and an F2 in the first 3 minutes and 19 seconds of the second.
A lot happening here. All right.
And that 6-point possession makes this a 9-point game, and the building has a little bit of life to it. Peavy with a spin. He'll go in the line, fouled by Heath.
But Peavy's really improved as a player. He only averaged 7 a game last year. He's up to 13 points per game. He's just playing within himself, too. Not a great three-point shooter. Obviously much better driving to the basket.
Off on his first attempt. Had a season-high 15 points earlier this week in the win over Houston Christian. And he's really shot the ball tremendously, 60%. Not this time, though, 0 for 2. And Georgetown with 6 straight in what was just 6 seconds of game time, now with the basketball. Styles. Supreme Cook can't put it back, and TCU comes down with it. Nelson pulls up. Battle for it, tapped out to Coles. Their 11th offensive rebound. Miller connects. Emmanuel Miller with 17.
That's what TCU does. Extra possession. And Emmanuel Miller has really taken good, tough physical shots.
6 in this second half already. Shot clock at 10. It's down to 6. Styles is trapped. Massoud to Epps. Say a prayer.
Boy, what a defensive sequence from TCU.
Nelson. Heat stopped him, and Massoud comes up with it. It's been the longest opening 5 minutes to the second half we've ever seen. Massoud. Jamie Dixon calls time. This is an 8.
Made birdie putt. It all adds up to Selection Sunday. And while we're a ways away from March, these kinds of things can impact quite a bit. That's also a surprising one from Villanova. They've lost to Penn, Drexel, and St. Joe's. But then won the battles for Atlanta. So
strange.
Try and figure that out for me.
Avery Anderson III's been special.
Yeah, he has. And he has been really good off the bench. It's interesting. We asked Ed Cooley. I said, man, they're so deep. Is there a guy that concerns you? He said Avery Anderson. I think he really gives him a spark.
Cook rejected.
The numbers, look out.
Oh, a strip from Epps. Anderson lost the handle on it.
Great hands from Epps.
Massoud, extra pass to Heath. Got it.
It's pretty simple what Georgetown's trying to do. What they do best is shoot the 3. And now some 2-3 zone. TCU had a lot of success just getting right in the middle of it.
Why a 2-3 zone?
Just trying to keep TCU off balance. That's all it is. Now it can be hard to rebound out of a zone.
O'Bannon's off, and Cook does rebound it.
Your TCU, you got to pay attention to the three-point shooters.
Epps, what a shot from Jaden Epps.
And what a response from Georgetown. They were on the ropes just a few minutes ago.
A 14-4 run. A strip by Massoud. This place is ready to burst. A more unique first 7 minutes of a second half.
No, it has been very disjointed. It's quite frankly, it's got the flow of something that Ed Cooley wanted. He was joking with us about how he wants a game to be really out of kilter, off rhythm. Because the more the game's rhythm is on point and up and down the floor, the more it favors TCU.
He goes, I want an old used car game. Just muck it up. 5 on the shot clock for Coles. Tennyson with 2. Nobody was there for the rebound, and Anderson alone in. He's got 11.
Your point guard gets an offensive rebound after great defense for 29 seconds.
Epps is fouled. He will go on the line for 3.
And Jamie Dixon doesn't like it. I'm not sure. Avery Anderson's not really arguing. But first of all, great defense, but then Avery Anderson with the easy tip in. Cooley's this kind of stuff that'll drive you crazy as a coach. But boy, oh boy. Epps ran off a triple screen. Avery Anderson hit him on a 3. Boy, I'm impressed that Georgetown responded here. I mean, because it really looked like and felt like things were going to balloon to maybe a 20, 25-point lead. So one thing about Georgetown, they've been in a lot of close games. They were in a dogfight against Holy Cross, against American, against Merrimack, against Jackson State, and they found a way to hang in there and win.
Meanwhile, TCU has won their 6 games by an average of 30 points.
So that matters. I mean, your comfort in a dogfight.
Trey Tennyson, he's got that J.
Yeah, it's always big to bring shooting off the bench like that. And there's been times Georgetown zone has looked good, and then there's times Georgetown zone has really struggled. That's just an easy skip pass and a shot fake and a wide open 15-footer.
Ed Cooley told us that's part of year 1 on a job. Epps kicks, corner 3. Styles said Cooley wanted a foul. He took contact. Now Anderson. That is a foul on Heat.
Feet, but they're lessons that are learned nonetheless.
And for a program that won 7 games last year, 6 the year before, just winning some games is the first step.
Yes. And that's Ed Cooley's, one of the lines he always gives his team, just get me to the final 4 minutes and I'll coach you home.
Well, we've got a little over 11 left in a 5-point game. It's the 9th TCU turnover.
That's on TCU to kind of reestablish themselves. A little bit better discipline defensively guarding that 3-point line.
Epps to Massoud. Massoud dials it up.
Wow. Keep in mind, Massoud, he had 16 points in a Sweet 16 game against Michigan State. This is a guy that's taking and making big shots in big stages.
Part of perhaps the biggest surprise in college hoops last year, that Elite 8 Kansas State squad. And now we've got a travel on Tennyson.
Great drive from Jaden Epps, under control. And again, there has to be better attention to detail in guarding these shooters. What Georgetown does best is shoot the 3.
This was once a 15-point game 7 minutes ago. Epps to Massoud.
Much better transition defense.
Tennyson. Offensive rebound for Miller.
That's where he's typically gotten to that shoulder and jump hook, just like that.
Just clear everybody out. And Emmanuel Miller's got 19.
He's a man. I mean, that is a grown man move from Emmanuel Miller.
His younger brother Leonard came out of G League Ignite, now part of the Timberwolves. The Miller family is athletic. Styles left open.
10 from 3 are the Hoyas in this half.
Jamie Dixon told us we better guard the three-point line. Here's Coles. He can't hit. Again, they were once down 15. Have a chance to take the lead. Jaden Epps gives them the edge. Listen to Capital One.
Wow. Georgetown, flat as a pancake to start the second half. And now they are full of life.
Did you just say flat as a pancake?
Is that not a thing? I'm gonna make it a thing.
Yeah. Their first lead since it was 27 to 25. These are sounds in this building. When was the last time you heard them? Epps. And we'll stay with Georgetown.
Yeah, there is a ton of energy in this building now. And if you're TCU, it's pretty simple. You have to do a better job staying attached to the three-point line and the three-point shooters.
How do you do it?
It starts with defending the ball, containing dribble penetration.
That's an illegal screen on Supreme Cook.
Be interesting now. It's easy to play 10 guys when you're winning games by 30. What happens to that rotation here in the final 8 minutes? You're going to find out who Jamie Dixon trusts at this stage of the season.
And folks, this is TCU's first real test of the year. Strength of schedule at this point, 362. Now the rest of their schedule in the Big 12, it's top 10 in the country in SOS. Shot clock is down to 12. Oh my! Emmanuel Miller has 22.
What a huge shot. Nothing going against this 2-3 zone. Miller just rises up. There's a level of joy that Miller plays with, too, that is pretty contagious.
Massoud. Oh! Ismael Massoud is on a heater. His third three.
When you're faking a handoff and just rising up, you are on a heater.
Nelson to Anderson. Peavy. Cook just battled his way for the rebound.
Great block out.
Massoud again. Take a breath. Turnover.
That's it. Take care of the ball. Give yourself a chance. And it goes to show also how reliant TCU is on turning defense into their offense.
Emmanuel Miller is playing a different game today.
Yeah, he has been a big-time stud out there. Good execution against the 2-3 zone on the timeout, too. It'll be interesting how much zone Ed Cooley wants to play down the stretch here.
Epps trying to get by Miller and somehow got that to go. Ow!
Guys, that is a 6'7" long athletic defender in Emmanuel Miller, and Epps is hitting that little running sky hook off the glass. That is a hard shot. Here's more of that zone. Get it right in the middle.
A travel, and that's the third time they've traveled.
just getting you a little bit out of whack. And right now, this 2-3 zone has really gotten TCU not on their toes, they're more on their heels as we take another look at that excellent drive and finish.
Nick, you talk about zone execution. TCU 3 of 13 from 3.
Yeah, a great way to beat a zone is to knock down 3, too.
Now Epps is fouled.
Well, Jaden Epps, keep in mind, got poked in the eye right at the end of the first half of Georgetown's last game against Merrimack. Did not play in the entire second half, and Georgetown had their hands full, eked out a win over Merrimack, but you can tell how big of an impact Epps makes offensively for this team.
He has been the man. One of the top scorers in the Big East. Back-to-back 30-plus point games this season for Georgetown. First Hoya to do that since Austin Freeman in 2010.
Some more of that zone.
Epps almost got a deflection. Here's Nelson. Jameer Nelson Jr.
Ball has not gotten inside the three-point line this entire possession.
Nelson Jr. says, why not? But a foul. Going for that rebound on Styles.
That's the other part that's tough in his own, obviously. Rebounding out of it, and that's what TCU does a nice job of, is Styles with a little shove on Mustafa. Taking a look at it underneath. Left arm dislodged Mustafa. Kip Kissinger right on it.
Both teams, as Mustafa is fouled, and that's Georgetown's 15th foul. Actually, Georgetown's 6th, so that was their last to give. TCU at 5.
Good execution on a baseline out of bounds. A little slip from Mustafa. Almost got a three-point play here. Keep in mind, Xavier Cork had a flagrant 2, ejected from the game. So, gonna have to ride Mustafa for a lot of the stretch down. Look at that. How can you make a free throw with John Fanta in your face? You can't.
Oh, boy. Mustafa 0 for 2. I don't want to jinx any shooter, Nick. I don't want to be the reason. That's the most defense I've ever played.
It is. Hey, you got to stop. You're number 1 at KenPom defensive efficiency right now.
It's a fat head. John Fanta, Nick Baugh with you from DC. Massoud got a step. Massoud will head to the line.
Well, when you've knocked down a bunch of threes, you have to run him off the three-point line. Ball screen coming to the middle. Nobody on that baseline. Easy read. And a good job from Massoud to not shy away from the contact and get to the free throw line.
Massoud knocking down the first. You said that he's been the key to this second half. What stood out to you the most?
Well, just the shot making has been on display. And his length and activity defensively has also loomed large for this Georgetown team. And he's another guy, we talk about experience. This guy in his 5th year of college basketball as well.
Missed the first 7 weeks of the season with a broken hand, and now Ed Cooley calls to the crowd. Waking up the echoes of the Georgetown fan base that we have not heard in quite some time. Calls, silencer.
Got to get the ball to Coles right in the middle of that zone. Good things have happened when he's gotten touches in there.
He's got 14. Epps with 10. Epps with a runner.
We're trying to run Jay Heath off a bunch of screens, and Tennyson did a good job shadowing him, and so Epps had no choice but to get busy, and he did.
22 for Jaden Epps. Emmanuel Miller got a step, and he will head to the free throw line.
watch this. This is rip, one dribble from the three-point line all the way to the rim. Emmanuel Miller has played with an element of physicality that has been really, really fun to watch.
He has 13 points in this second half, 6 of 7 from the floor. First free throw attempt of the day, good. And that's the other side of this matchup, Nick, is this TCU team, they could play through different people.
It'll be interesting if fatigue reveals itself at all. You've had to ride Jaden Epps and Jay Heath, Supreme Cook, Dontrez Styles a lot of minutes. Meanwhile, TCU's been shuffling guys in and out, in and out, in and out.
Free throws from here, both teams in the penalty. TCU with one timeout, Georgetown with 2. Massoud, Ismael Massoud, he can't miss. His 4-3. Deep three for Tennyson, the answer. Travion Tennyson.
Tennyson's on the floor because Georgetown's in his zone, and he's the best shooter from distance on this roster. 100 made threes a year ago at Texas A&M Corpus Christi, and a big one here for TCU.
The Big East Big 12 battle is tied at 3. This is game 7 of it. What a game 7 it's been. Baseline J for Styles. Into the hands of Anderson. Open 3 for Miller. The rebound to Epps. Inside 4 to go, and Ed Cooley holds his hands up to the air and says, let's slow the car down.
Traffic cop once again wanting to slow this thing down. I like just high pick and pops with Massoud and Epps. These two guys have really played well.
Epps has 22. Epps is off of the Horned Frogs. Georgetown will have it with 4 on the shot clock.
You're going to try and get Massoud or Epps off of a little pin-in.
A fade pass to Epps. Epps with 2 to Massoud. Ismael Massoud. Tap back doesn't go. Miller comes down with it. And here come the Horned Frogs, who have 1 timeout left. Georgetown has 2. Free throws from here with both teams in the penalty.
Straight man-to-man for Georgetown. They've been zoned, now they're going man.
This is Trey Tennyson. Off to Coles. Jacoby Coles. Rebound to Styles.
Ed Cooley is going to want to chew clock here in the final 3 minutes.
Georgetown was down 15, 3 minutes into the second half. TCU fired off 7 unanswered points to take a double-digit controlling lead. Or so they thought. Shot clock's at 5. Epps, he's been the star for the Hoyas all year. Gives it off to Heath. Offensive rebound, Massoud. He's fouled.
Boy, Ismael Massoud has been absolutely incredible in this second half for Georgetown. As a possession was going nowhere, you get a contested deep 3. Not sure what TCU did to leave Massoud.
Foul on Anderson is second. Both teams at 7 fouls, so anything on the floor is a 1-and-1 here for now in the last 2:18. What a second half for Ismael Massoud. All 16 coming in the second. It's a 4-point game. Avery Anderson, the third, rejected by Epps.
Wow, what a defensive play from Epps. And Ed Cooley pressing the right buttons to go back man-to-man for 2 straight possessions and get 2 straight stops.
And now a foul is called on the dribble handoff, and Jamie Dixon can't believe it.
I think I'm with with Jamie Dixon. I'm not sure what that call was. As Kip Kissinger motioned that Peavy put his hands around the ball handler.
Foul in that spot.
Wow, that's a big call.
That sends Styles to the line. He's 3 of 4 today and hits the front end. And now if you're at $151, here's another look.
Yeah, well, I don't know what. Yeah, Kip Kissinger was right. I don't know what Peavy was doing there.
How much time do you think was on the clock?
I have no idea. That looked like he was intentionally fouling him. It's the right call.
Down 6. What can the Horned Frogs do?
Well, you went small, and you got another penetrator on the floor now in Jameer Nelson Jr. and Avery Anderson. So Nelson Jr. checked in.
TCU with 1 timeout left. Georgetown with 2. Nelson knocks it down. Jameer Nelson Jr. Timeout TCU. Third, Nelson and Coles on the floor for TCU. What a battle in the Big East Big 12 battle. Pressure. On heave to Styles. That's an illegal screen.
Yes.
It's on Ismael Massoud.
Good eye, John Fanta. No doubt about it. Shoved Jameer Nelson Jr. in the back on the skip pass, trying to break the pressure out of the trap. Take another look at it. Watch Ismael Massoud. Going to shove Jameer Nelson Jr. Easy call.
So just like that, TCU down 3. Coles for the tie. Wow! Jacoby Coles! And TCU has tied this game with 6 points in 20 seconds.
Boy, it looked like Georgetown was going with an aggressive zone on the sideline out of bounds. And pass out of the trap for the easy 3 for Coles. Wow!
TCU down 6 in 20 seconds, tied it at 81. Georgetown has 1 timeout left. TCU with none. Both teams at 8 fouls. Here we go.
Travel.
And this is the guy for Georgetown. He's been their closer all year, Jaden Epps.
Epps throws it out with now 8 on the shot clock to Heath. Heaves. It's short.
Good defense. Able to stymie Epps on that handoff. Got Georgetown off schedule.
Man-to-man here, Nick. Shot clock at 10. Jameer Nelson Jr. stripped. Miller couldn't hit. Georgetown has it. And Cooley has 1 timeout. There's a 1-second difference between shot and game. And he's going to use it.
I like it. You got the ball in your closer's hands. Don't call timeout.
He motioned to Epps that he was going to call it and then said, you know what, forget about it.
Got to go here.
Wow. Here's Epps with 5. Jaden Epps with 3. Jaden Epps throws it up. A foul. A foul is called.
You run the risk of a turnover is the right move.
So now 2.7 seconds left. Epps is cold-blooded. Now, what are you thinking here if you're the Horned Frogs?
Well, again, you got no timeouts left, so you have to know what you're running in this spot. You're going to have a home run ball on a made shot. You get a dribble per second, so you can cover a decent amount of ground.
An 80+% free throw shooter, Jaden Epps. Ice in his veins, and here comes Drew Fielder to guard the inbounder.
They better get back on Jacoby Coles. There you go. Massoud gets back there.
Peavy heaves. Miller. Emmanuel Miller for the win.